The Easy Money Show with Cam Fats. It's powered by EpicConversions.com and the Insiders Club. Welcome to another episode. What would I do if there was no internet? How could I start a business if there was no internet? Right? That's kind of how I was approaching the idea of offline marketing. And I understand a lot of people who use offline marketing, they combine the two. They combine online marketing and offline marketing, which I think is fantastic. I think it's great. And if you do any multi-level marketing, you'll see a lot of people combining those two things, especially when they're out there doing the recruiting and they're trying to recruit people for their multi-level marketing schemes. That's another subject. I don't even want to get down that road. Multi-level marketing schemes. I know there's some good multi-level marketing products out there. I know there's some good multi-level marketing programs out there, but there's also some bad ones, right? Can we all admit that? Can we all admit there are some bad multi-level marketing programs out there? In fact, we could probably argue there's a lot of pyramid schemes out there that are operating under the guise of multi-level marketing. We could probably say that. Could we not? I'll let you guys decide. You fill in the blanks. Let me know in the comment section. But I'd say we could say that pretty easily. Now look, Mary Kay. I think Mary Kay is awesome. I mean, I'm a dude. I don't buy a lot of Mary Kay. But I'll tell you something. I was inspired deeply when I first lost my job. When I first lost my job in 2010, they got me on the road into this online marketing thing. One of the things I did was I went down to my local job and family services, and if you don't know what that is, that's the place where people go to sign up for unemployment and welfare and stuff. And I went down there because I was trying to figure out, I had already signed up for community college. I just lost my job and I signed up for community college, and I was like, it hadn't picked up yet. My community college hadn't picked up yet. I wasn't going to be able to start until the fall quarter. But I lost my job at the beginning of August. So I had a gap there, and I'm just not the kind of person to I can't just sit around, man. I got to be executing something, right? That's just kind of how I'm wired. I got to be executing something. So I went to my local job and family services, and I saw that they were having this resume building workshop. I said, yeah, cool, man. It's free. It's 3 days. And I want to learn how to do this resume thing. Because I had my job for I'd worked at that hospital for 7 years. So it's been a while since I was in the look for a job game. I'd had a job for a while, so it'd been a while. So, hey, man, I'll brush up on my resume building skills. I knew I was getting ready to go to school, but still, man, you never know. I mean, it's always good to know how to do a resume and get a job, right? So it was a 3-day class, and the teacher said, hey, man, I think you'd be really good for this soft skills workshop we got going on. I said, what do you mean? What's a soft skills workshop? What's that? He's like, soft skills is basically it's how you interact with other people. It's your people skills, how you socialize with people and stuff like that. And I was like, yeah, I don't know, man. And he's like, well, listen, man, I think you'll get a lot out of it. I think you'll think it's really awesome. I was like, all right, well, cool. I'll talk to my wife about it. So I did, and I ended up joining that soft skills workshop training, and it was 2 weeks long, and it was awesome, man. It was awesome. If you guys ever get a chance to go to a soft skills workshop, I highly recommend you do it. But anyways, this was amazing. And one of the speakers who came in to talk to us was this lady from Mary Kay. And I probably told this story before, but I'll tell it again. But the point is, this lady came in from Mary Kay. She had already earned 3 pink Cadillacs. And if you don't know anything about that, basically at Mary Kay, the better you are at selling and stuff like that, you can earn pink Cadillacs at Mary Kay. I don't know the details of it completely because I've never worked at Mary Kay before. But she had already earned 3 pink Cadillacs. She credited a lot of that to self-belief and affirmation statements. She was really big on affirmation statements. And her thing was, look, man, your own, and she said this, your brain believes the things that come out of your mouth more than anybody else, right? Your brain believes whatever comes out of your mouth more than anything else. So you got to be very careful with your language and how you talk about what you're going to do, how you talk about what you're doing, and especially how you criticize yourself. You have to be very careful when you start spitting out negative stuff, right? So she believed this, and I never really heard of affirmation statements before this, but it was a big, big turning point for me, man, because here I was looking at someone who said, hey, this stuff works, and it seemed kind of hokey to me, and it seemed kind of like, yeah, whatever, man, okay, but she had all this proof to back it up. She was like, no, look, I'm doing really, really well. I mean, she was really, really successful in her business, and she credited to that. But she'd look in the mirror in the morning and she would like say her affirmation statements while she was staring at herself. And then when she was like going somewhere in her car, she would repeat her affirmation statements. And she said this worked amazingly well. So, anyways, that's how I got into the soft skills training. Yeah. So offline marketing, the thing, I don't know how I got into that, man. I don't know how I got into talking about that, but the point I was trying to talk about was, and I totally got off topic and I apologize, but the point I was trying to talk about was, how would you market offline if there was no internet, right? How would you do it? How would you run a business offline if there was no internet, right? The internet has been it has changed so much for us, hasn't it? I mean, we're able to do so much now with the internet that we couldn't do before, or at least it felt like we couldn't do before. I was thinking about it, and like I said, yeah, I did put a nice piece of content in the Insiders Club this week on offline marketing and how to generate leads with offline marketing. But the question, how would I create a business with offline marketing if I didn't have any internet to fall back on? It was a really interesting question to me, man, and it was kind of challenging. I mean, how would you do that without the internet at all? Well, the most basic thing, and this is the most, that's always the best, right? To keep it as simple as possible. Well, I remember when I first got back to Ohio after, I was in the Navy for 5 years, you guys. And then when I got out of the Navy, I moved to Rhode Island for a while, and then I moved back to Ohio. I'm from Ohio originally, but when I first got out of the Navy, I did some traveling, and then I moved back to Ohio. So when I first moved back to Ohio, I'd forgotten about this until this offline marketing thing I was thinking about. But I'd forgotten about this, but I did some guitar lessons. You guys might or might not know this, but I actually play guitar. I'm a musician. And when I first got back to Ohio, I had a guitar lesson business. And the way that I did this guitar lesson business, it was $20 for a half an hour lesson, right? $20 for half an hour lesson. And the way that I got my clients was, I'd go to local guitar shops and I'd hang flyers, guitar lessons, $20 for half hour, and I'd cut little snips in the bottom of the page. This is old school flyers, right? And you can do this without a computer, right? You can write the flyer up. You can write the flyer up with a Sharpie marker. I think that's what I used, the Sharpie marker. It wasn't professional looking at all. And I think I wrote all of them. I don't even think I took it to like a Staples or anything to get copies made. I think I just hand wrote about 5 or 6 of them, and I took them to all the local guitar shops. Hey, thanks, Tony. Thank you, sir. I took them to all my local guitar shops, and I hung them up. They have my phone number on them at the bottom, little tags at the bottom, because I'd put the little snips. I cut the little snips in the paper at the bottom, put my phone number on each snip, so people could just take a little tag off, and like they'd have my phone number, right? And I got calls, and pretty soon I had like 4 or 5 clients, right? Guys, that's no different than a membership site. You got people coming for guitar lessons every single week, paying you $20 for a half-hour guitar lesson, right? Man, that's pretty good. Pretty soon you're making $400 or $500 a month giving guitar lessons, right? It's not that hard. It's not that hard. So I would say, like, and I did that, and I did that business. And I'll tell you something, it wasn't that hard for me because I knew how to play guitar, right? And I knew how to talk to people, right? I could talk to people. I was cool. Like, at this point in the game, I'd already been in the Navy for 5 years. I'd met all kinds of people. I had dealt with tons of personalities. So, kids coming to me wanting to learn how to play guitar, it wasn't no thing, man. I was a music lover, and whatever they wanted to learn how to play, we could work on it. We could work on it. I could show them how to do it, right? So it was cool, and it worked for me. But what if you don't know how to play guitar? Because I know most of you guys watching this don't know how to play guitar. I get it, and I think that, first of all, throw the guitar thing out, because that's not important. The important part was the offline business was functional because I learned a skill that other people were interested in learning, and then I advertised for it in places where those people would hang out. It's no different, right? I found something, a problem that a targeted market would want, and then I went out there and I found where the targeted market was hanging out at, right? It's the same thing we do online, you guys, right? You need content, you need a distribution model, right? In this case, the content was my service. It was service. I was showing people how to play guitar, and my distribution model was simple, right? I advertised with the guitar shops. I used the phone to connect, and they came over to my house, or I came over to their house. Usually they'd come to my place. Sometimes I go to their place, and we do the guitar lessons, right? So sometimes there was some gas involved, but it wasn't bad. It wasn't bad. And I'll tell you something. You can do this with anything. It doesn't have to just be guitar lessons. Forget about the guitar lessons. What if you decide, hey man, you know what? Why don't I start a grocery shopping business? I'll put some flyers at some grocery stores, and I'll be the guy who will drive you to the grocery store once a week. If you got a lot of elderly people in your town, maybe they could use someone who would take them to the grocery store once a week that's pretty dependable. Maybe they could use someone just to go to the grocery store and pick up a few groceries for them once a week, right? Because it's hard for them to get out there and do it because they're old. There's a lot of different little ways you could do that, man. And you don't need the internet to make that business thrive. I mean, these kinds of businesses are almost like membership sites, right? You get clients and you keep clients, man. And as long as you're providing good service and you're helping them, man, it just works out. I'll tell you something, businesses like that very quickly turn into $400 or $500 a month. Very quickly. They really do, and you could probably make that $4,000 or $5,000 a month if it's the right service, if it's the right thing you're teaching, right? If it's the right thing you're providing, right? And you guys, all you got to do is just think outside the box a little bit. If you feel like you don't have any skills, first of all, I promise you're wrong. If you've ever worked a job in your life, you have some skills that are transferable. You ever worked at a store before? Oh, okay, cool. You have some salesman skills probably. You've probably been trained in sales. You probably know a thing or two about it. You might not be the expert, but you're probably a step or two ahead of the guy who's never worked at sales. Have you ever gotten a couple of jobs before? Maybe you're good at teaching people how to get jobs. Trust me, there's a lot of people out there that could use someone to teach them how to get a job, right? Trust me. There's a lot of things out there you're probably pretty decent at. You just don't realize it. You never thought about it before. But if you feel like you're not good at anything, then acquire a skill. Look around your town and think about what kinds of things people are interested in learning around your town. I'll tell you one thing. I bet you I could clean up on that how to get a job thing. I bet you I could, The only problem with that is people who are trying to get a job don't have a lot of money. People who are trying to get a job do not have a lot of money. So they're probably not going to be able to pay me anything. That's the only problem with that little idea right there. They probably don't have a lot of money. But I'll tell you something, man. There's one person who knows how to get a job. It's me. You know, I know how to get some jobs, man. I'll tell you that right now. Man, I get real technical with it, you guys. I like when I go looking for jobs. I haven't done this for quite a while, but back when I used to do jobs, I'll tell you something, man. I would research the company before I even went for the interview, right? I would research everything about the company. So when I went in for the interview, man, I knew about the company. I would ask my interviewer questions about the company. That would impress the hell out of my interviewers, right? And they'd be like, damn, man, this dude, you know. Then when they asked me, hey man, what kind of position would you like to work at here? I would say things like, hey man, I want the position that's going to give me the biggest chance to advance, man. I feel like I can be a real value to your company, and I want to advance, man. I want to move up the ladder, and I really think I can do it. I really think I provide a lot of value for this company, right? And that's what I always answer that question with, and that always put me in good positions with companies, man. You know, too many people when they're trying to get jobs, man, too many people just go in there like, you know, they don't know, man. That's ridiculous. We got the internet, man. You can look up the internet for most asked job questions, most asked interview questions. You can look that stuff up now. You couldn't look that up back when I was trying to get jobs, I'll tell you that. Man, back when I was trying to get jobs, you couldn't look everything up on the internet like that. Now, man, you should be able to have a legit answer for like, where do you see yourself in 5 years? You should be able to bang that right out. You should be able to know exactly what they're looking for when it comes to an answer for that question. Any kind of abstract questions they're going to ask you to throw you off guard, man, you should be able to find all the tricks on the internet, right? And I know about them all, man, because I used to actually do interviews my last job that I was at, I actually was part of a group. We did group interviews. There'd be like a whole group of us. You want to talk about a crazy interview? Try doing an interview where you have a whole council in front of you asking you questions. That's a tough interview right there. You got a whole group of people throwing questions at you, all sitting there looking at you, judging you. I was on a council like that, and we did interviews like that. So I learned all the tricks for interviews, man. But they're all out there, man. They're all on the internet. You should have no problems if you're out there trying to find a job. You should have no problems with that. Personally, if I were you, I'd look at working for myself. There's a lot of money to be made on the internet right now, you guys. I mean, that's the long and the short of it. There's a lot out there. There's a lot of ways to make things happen on the internet right now. But however, I'm not saying people who work at jobs are not cool. I'm not saying they're big old dorks or buttholes or whatever just because they work at jobs. Nothing wrong with working at a job. You know, that's what you got to do. You do what you got to do. You got to support your family. You got to make ends meet. If you're out there, you're working at a job, then you know, I'll tell you something. If you're out there and you're working at a job and you don't like your job, stop complaining about your job, okay? Find a better job. If you don't like your job and you don't feel like they're paying you enough money, stop complaining about your job. My wife and I was just talking about this the other day, about this whole McDonald's thing. I don't know if you guys remember, like last year, I think it was, not too long ago, all the McDonald's employees were complaining they weren't making enough money. They wanted to make more money. I laughed, man. I thought it was just funny. I mean, because, man, it's like, why are people so entitled these days? Why is this new generation so entitled? They act like the world owes them something. The world don't owe you anything. It just doesn't. The world doesn't owe you anything. I tell you, man, a lot of these kids, they got a hard road coming. They really do. They don't get it, man. The world doesn't owe you a thing. If you walk into this world like you're entitled and everybody owes you something, man, the world is going to chew you up and spit you out. And that's just the way it is, man. Everything in this life you are going to have to take. And I don't mean take it in a bad way. I mean work for it. I mean work for it and never quit. Just keep on pounding your head against that wall until eventually you break through. And that's how you got to do it, man. That's how you got to do it. The world owes you nothing. McDonald's didn't owe those people more money. McDonald's didn't owe those people more money. If you want more money, find a better job. Stop complaining to McDonald's. McDonald's is entry-level work. McDonald's is where kids go to work when they graduate high school. That's where you go when you got no experience and you can't get a job anywhere else. Find a better job. Use your brain, man. Use your brain. Just today I was at the library. The library was hiring. You want to talk about a sweet job? How cool is that? A government job working at the library? Library assistant? Are you kidding me? Give me a break. My dad worked construction for 30 years. Concrete man, 30 years. He would laugh at working at a library. Telling you. Not trying to be on a rant about it, you guys. I'm just saying people are too entitled today. I can't believe we have so much at our fingertips. The world of knowledge at our fingertips. And yet people feel so entitled, like the world owes them something. They don't want to think. They don't want to act. It's insane. What is happening? Man. Whatever. Anyways, I'll stop ranting about it. I apologize. If you're just tuning in, welcome. Welcome to the Easy Money Show. This is episode 1 of my brand new show.